Hello, this is George Hutton, and you are listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. Today we continue our study of weaponized hypnosis. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/weaponized-hypnosis. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about common human fears. Imagine you are taking a self-defense class for busy people. Where would you imagine you could punch somebody to do the maximum damage? Eyes, groin, swipe the knee? The human body has several vulnerable areas that are prime targets if you want to knock them out and run. Similarly, our human emotions have several weak spots. When you're in an argument with a loved one, there are some things that are off limits. When one party uses one of these items as a linguistic weapon, the argument stops and the other person says, "That's not fair." And hopefully the person who said it will realize they've gone too far. These are situational and are only to be used in extreme emergencies, when you have decided that you want to cross the point of no return and remove that person from your life. We'll deal with these in a later chapter. What we need here are some things to be used on people you know little about. Common human emotions. All humans share common emotions. We all want more money. We all don't like our boss very much. We wish we could live in a slightly better neighborhood. Most of us wish we didn't weigh as much. Our fears and desires are surprisingly very common. This is one thing that cold readers or psychics leverage when they talk to their clients. From a purely scientific, there is no such thing as psychic phenomenon standpoint. How psychics do what they do is fairly straightforward. To begin with, most of us have the same hidden fears, desires, and urges. Beyond that, the type of people who go see a psychic tend to fall into a tight demographic category. This is true for any product. If you studied marketing, one of the goals is to understand the unique demographics of your audience. Knowing that your main customer is a middle-aged female Democrat will help you sell more products. The more you know about your target demographic, the easier it is to craft a targeted marketing message. Psychics leverage this idea, but in a different way. They see the same kinds of customers over and over, and pretty soon they get a pretty good feel for the problems and concerns. This is very similar to a therapist who sees the same types of patients over and over. They get pretty good at solving the same problems over and over. However, what makes psychics unique is the common human tendency to imagine that our problems, hopes, and fears are uniquely ours. Most people never talk about their deepest fears or fantasies with anybody. We all have the notion that our fears and fantasies are unique to us. But what therapists and psychics, and to a large extent sex workers, know is that all of our deepest, darkest fears are pretty common. This is a little beyond the scope of our podcast, but one way psychics leverage their cold reading skills is by both knowing a great deal about their client upon first meeting them, which they can do since they've seen so many similar clients and are very good at cold reading them, but at the same time, they make a show of sensing all that information about them through their psychic powers. This isn't to say that the psychics aren't providing a valuable service. This is to illustrate that all of us have the same fears, and we think those fears are uniquely ours. What does that mean for us as practitioners of weaponized hypnosis? We can quickly deliver a verbal kick to the nuts, look at them and smile. This will make them never ever want to insult us again. Common human fears. The first step is to understand the most common human fears. Once we've got an idea about what these are, we'll go through our list of linguistic presuppositions and carefully wrap them around the most common fears so we can deliver them with deadly power. Fear of missing out. This is commonly referred to as FOMO, and it's usually used to describe people who take action like investing in questionable assets simply because everybody else is buying. It is also why we tend to follow trends. On the surface, it's a common marketing tool. Everybody's got one, you should buy one too. It combines the social influence laws of social proof, everybody's got one, and scarcity, there might not be any left, better buy one now or else you'll be the only one without one. But the much deeper fear we can leverage is the fear of being left behind. Left behind. All humans have a childhood experience of wanting to find their mom or other caregiver and suddenly realizing she's nowhere to be seen. This is also a very deeply programmed instinct. Way back in the caveman days, our tribe was our life. Without our tribe, we were dead. Today, it's very easy to live on your own and only talk to others when you need to. But getting purposely left behind by our tribe was the kiss of death. So, before things ever got that bad, we humans developed a collection of instincts that kept our social standing in the tribe as positive as possible. Ego instincts. We can describe our human ego as the collection of instincts that kept tribal cohesion. If we looked around and saw people whispering, looking our way and shaking their heads, a proper response would be to fear the worst. This horrible fear would spur us to do whatever was needed to get back in their good graces so we wouldn't wake up one morning and find that everybody had left us behind. On the other end of the spectrum, if we saw people talking and looking at us while smiling and giving us nonverbal signs of approval, then we would keep doing whatever we did to get us that approval. Ego attacks. All these will be covert ego attacks. They will imply that anything that suggests our target is secretly hated by everybody or everybody is conspiring against them. We won't say these directly. We will say things that will make our target suspect that on their own. This will put them in a very weakened position, much like a would-be mugger who just got stabbed in the eye with his would-be victim's car keys. Very dangerous. If you were to walk up to a stranger on the street and ram your keys into their eyeball, somebody would call the cops and you would be arrested. Physically harming somebody is only legal if it is in self-defense. These linguistic patterns, however, will not get you arrested, yet they can be just as deadly. If you wanted to, you could use these to destroy somebody over time. You could fill their mind with dread, ruin their productivity, or even their relationships. Because of this, these techniques are potentially much more harmful than any physical martial arts. Even if you are totally evil and you enjoy hurting others, the likelihood of being incarcerated or being made to pay compensation for the injuries you've caused is enough to keep you from harming others. But with these patterns, there is nothing stopping you but your own internal morals and ethics. Please keep this in mind when going through these. Use them defensively until they leave you alone, but think twice about using these on innocent victims simply because you can. The economic law of unintended consequences can wait a long, long time. I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. For more information, please visit mindpersuasion.com/weaponized-hypnosis. I look forward to speaking with you again soon.